Hey there YouTube, this is Mr.Lubufu, continuing on with my Khans of Tarkir complete set review. Again, this set review is mostly designed for limited, so use it as such to prepare for your pre-release and release events. This episode's red, and we're just going to go ahead and hop right in. So we have Act of Treason. It's the classic reprint. There's very few sacrifice outlets though, so it's hard to do the Act of Treason sacrifice deck. And it's okay if you're playing an aggressive deck to stick one of these in your deck. Any more than that and it's kind of pushing it. Enoch Tracker, it's a 6 mana 3/3 first strike that also has Morph, and it's okay. It gets outscaled by everything that has 4 power or 4 toughness, which there's a lot of it. So, keep that in mind. It's not as good as it might be in other formats. Arc Lightning sees a reprint. For those of you that don't know how good Arc Lightning is really good. It's hard for me to think of a situation where Arc Lightning is not good, so I aggressively draft Arc Lightning. Even in this format where it's super slow and there's so many high toughness creatures. It kills morphs, it deals with other things, just a good card. Next we have Arrow Storm. So it's a 5 mana sorcery that deals 4 damage to target creature or player that has a raid, it deals 5 damage instead. And it can't be prevented, but there's very few prevention effects in this format. It's okay. 5 mana to kill most things in this format. It's actually going to be okay. This is as close to unconditional removal in red as you're going to see. So definitely a fine card. It's, you know, it is a sorcery, so keep that in mind. Ash Cloud Phoenix is decent and limited. I mean, it's a giant 4/1 flyer, which is good, and they have to use 2 removal spells to kill it if they want to kill it permanently. You know, no complaints on my end. It's a strongish card. Next, you have Barrage of Boulders, which is not the kind of card I like. There's not enough 1 toughness creatures to make it as solid removal, and if a creature with power 4 or greater, like being unable to block is not as strong. Yeah, it can steal some games from people that don't know what's going on, but I don't like it that much. Next, you have Bloodfire Expert, which is a 3/1 for 3 that has prowess, and it's not that good. Gets outscaled by way too many things in this format. Basically, people will trade this for a morph quite often, if it's a bad morph. So, it's very aggressively costed, so you can help trigger raid with that at least. Next, you have Bloodfire Mentor. So, it's a 3 mana 0/5 that lets you loot, which this format's slow enough that this guy is actually not that bad. You have to commit to 2 colors, yes, but card's good. Card's good. Next, we have Bring Low. So it's a 4 mana instant, deals 3 damage to target creature. If it has a +1/+1 counter, it deals 5 damage instead. I think it's fine. It's decent-ish removal. However, the next card, Burn Away, is much stronger. That's why you can see it's an uncommon instead. But it's one of the top uncommons. I think it's a 5 mana, deals 6 damage to target creature, so it kills almost everything in the format. And when that creature dies, exile all cards from its controller's graveyard. So basically it says, you know, randomly wreck the Delve decks. But Burn Away, one of the top uncommons in the set, especially in red. Canyon Lurkers, 5 mana 5/2 that has Morph. So it's here to trigger Ferocious and gets beaten by everything else in combat. What I don't like about it is if you cast it face down and then flip it face up, he's still going to die almost surely. Like your opponent knows it has a 2 toughness at least, so not gaining some toughness is relevant. Crater Claws, strong card. It kills something dead or kills your opponent dead. If you have Ferocious, it deals 2 extra damage. Definitely a top card. It's even splashable, so it's a card I like. It's a card I like in limited. Next, you have Dragon Grip. 3 mana that if you have Ferocious, you can cast it as though it had Flash, and should the creature gets +2/+0 in first strike. It's okay. It's, you know, not super impressive, but it gets wrecked by a ton of removal, that's for certain, but it's okay. I'm not a huge fan of auras, even in Theros Block. Like, Theros Block was the deck, since they didn't have enough removal for it. This set has a lot of slow removal, so you might get something out of your Dragon Grip. Dragon Style Twins, however, very strong card. Hard for them to beat in combat. It's a 3/3 double striker, which is already fine and limited. And if you ever get to trigger Prowess, it gets to kill anything in the format. It's actually quite good. Next, you have Goblin Slide, which is 3 mana. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may pay 1. If you do, put a 1/1 red goblin creature with haste. meh. I mean, it seems fine. Getting small little 1/1s with haste to help trigger raid. We have to pay some mana to cast non-creature spells. It's okay. It's nothing super impressive, but it might see play in limited. Horde Ambusher, so it's a 2-mana 2/2 that you can either morph it, and if you do, target creature can't block this turn, and you just can't block with it often. So it's okay. It's very aggressively costed. It's good for raid, which is why it has the Mardu key or Mardu watermark on it. Now we have Hordeling Outburst, so it's 3 mana but 3 1/1s. Very aggressively costed, and it can be okay. So I don't think it's that insane, but just because a lot of 1/1s just get beaten by everything else in this format, morphs included. So, but it can be okay. It helps trigger morph because you like, I'll throw away a goblin to trigger morph, and then you're getting value there. Howl of the Horde is a cute card. I don't think it's good enough for limited. Jeering Instigator. It's a 2-mana 2/1 that you can morph it to active treason something, which is okay. If it didn't have the if it's your turn clause, it'd be much stronger. Now we have Leaping Master, so it's a 2-mana 2/1. So it's fair for 2 mana, and you can give it flying for 3. So basically, it's just another two mana guy that helps stabilize the board, basically. Mardu Blazebringer, so it's a 3-mana 4/4, so very aggressively costed. So naturally, its downside is when it attacks or blocks, sacrifice it. I love the art though. That ogre is on fire. Basically, he's there to trigger Ferocious. Not that good otherwise. Mardu Heartpiercer, like I said when it was spoiled, is actually quite strong. Raid to shock something is very strong, so I like it. Mardu Warshrieker is okay for limited. I mean, you get 4 mana for a 3/3, so you get a Hill Giant, and then you get 3 mana, so if you, of course, raided, which can let you just cast one of the banners or another creature, which that can be fine. It's nothing too insane. Next, we have Monastery Swift Spear. So 1 mana, 1/2 with haste and prowess. It's probably going to see more play in Constructed than it will in Limited. It's very aggressive and gets blocked by everything with Morph. But it is a 1/2, so if you have the prowess spell, you get to eat Morphs, which is relevant. Need I say anything about Sarkhan? He's really good in Limited. He'll see Constructed play as well, so keep that in mind. Shatter sees play here, or Shatter sees reprint. It's fine, what with all the banners running around. If you don't know what they are, be sure to check out the other videos in this series to find out what they are. But it's okay. Won't see much. Like, don't bring it in unless they have like a million of them, but it's not that good. Summit Prowler is a 4 mana 4/3, so they didn't want to make a Hill Giant because they wanted something that triggers Ferocious. That's why this guy's here. He's okay. Swift Kick. It's actually quite strong. It is 4 mana, but target creature you control gets +1/+0 and then fights target creature you don't control. So, I mean, it's basically a good removal spell if you have creatures on board, which is fine. Tormented Voice is 2 mana, discard a card, draw 2 cards. Meh. Not super impressive, but not bad either. Next, we have Trumpet Blast. Target creatures you control get +2/+0, so it's a decent finisher. So, I mean, the people who played Conspiracy are familiar with this card. It's not going to be as good as it was in Conspiracy because you don't get as many of them, but it's okay. We have Valley Dashers. It's a 2 mana 2/2. Haste, attacks each turn of Fables. I normally am not a fan of attack each turn of Fable. This guy does trigger raid pretty well, but he'll trigger it once or twice and then he's dead. Also gets blocked by every morph creature in the format. And lastly, Warname Aspirant. So it's a 2 mana 2/1 that if raided becomes a 3/2, and it can't be blocked by creatures with power 1 or less. With so many morphs, it's not bad, but I think this guy's still okay. It's fine. Sometimes you get some evasive creatures going on and help continuing to trigger raid. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Rate, comment, and subscribe. And be sure to check out the other videos in this series. Thank you all for watching.